Hello folks, so we are approaching October. This month will be action-packed, right? I mean, we know that. I've made separate videos on everything that's happening. The two final eclipses in the Libra Aries axis, movement of Ketu Rahu to Virgo Pisces axis. Mars is forming a conjunction with Ketu all month in Libra, resulting in very swift relationship developments. So let's speak about October. October starts with Mars and Ketu conjunction in Libra. On October 1st, we see Mercury moving into its exaltation sign of Virgo, joining Mars and Sun there. So big landscape shifts are in store this month. We have a solar eclipse in Virgo in Chitra on October 14th, and we have a lunar eclipse in Aries on October 28th in Ashwini. Venus moves back into Leo. Rahu shifts into Gandant Aries and ends the month of October in Gandant Pisces. So big endings, big beginnings are in store at this time. A chapter that has been lingering for a long time will come to an end with a bang. And next month will be a lot calmer. And in fact, this will lead us into more fulfilling times in November and in December. It's a month where prayer and surrender will work wonders, given Rahu's movement. I've made a separate video, as I said, so have a look at that on the eclipse axis moving. I think the first half will be when you will feel quite sort of like anxious up until that eclipse mid-month, and then whatever it is that was going to come up, you will be able to deal with it the second half of the month. Yeah, if you need to make big decisions, they will happen in the second half of the month, certainly. So let's take a look at each sign very briefly here, because I've already spoken about this elsewhere. So yeah. So we start with Aries. It's probably been quite stressful this year with so much activity in fire houses and the aspect of Saturn hosting Jupiter, Rahu Ketu moving through Aries Libra. So this is going to be a month where you can finally release all of that stress and say goodbye to the past once and for all. Yeah. So to begin with, Lagna Lord is moving to the 7th house, joining Ketu. So we know the intensity starts in the very beginning. October 3rd to October 6th, we have a conjunction of Mars and Ketu. Relationships can feel a little bit challenging now. There could also be some disagreement that surfaces at this time, some dispute. 7th Lord Venus is in Leo at this time, aspected by Saturn. So relationships can experience some separation, some break. Excellent remedy now is chanting or listening to Hanuman Chalisa. With so much fire in that 7th house, it's a good month to keep a low profile also. Like, don't make big plans this month, whether it's to do with travel or work or relationship, whatever it is. But put it on the back burner for now. If you're self-employed, you have your own business, then some changes are in store there. If you do creative type of work, then it's a good month. It's a good month actually to put your energy into creating something. If you have children, good time to focus on them. Look after your stress levels at this time, your health. Excellent to adapt some kind of sadhana, and so like just make sure your routines are in the place. So you have an eclipse happening in your 6th house on October the 14th, which actually is a good eclipse for you. It's going to bring a swift ending to an ongoing problem. So think about what problem you have been experiencing for the last several months. It could be a dispute, it could be a confrontation, it could be a health issue. It's going to end with a bang, and it's going to be once and for all. You can move on, right? The final eclipse, of course, falls in your house in Aries on October the 28th. Jupiter's aspect here is very helpful to maintain some positivity. Grace is flowing at this time, even if it doesn't seem like it. So it can be a stressful month, obviously, so stay hydrated and keep things light where possible. Taurus, what's happening for you? We start the month with Lagna Lord Venus in your 4th house. This is a pleasant transit, so enjoy it. Domestic scene can see some improvements now. You can have an eclipse happening in your 5th house, so there could be some challenges with your business now. Perhaps the financial situation could be undergoing some shifts. If you have children, there can be some challenges with them now. On October the 14th, there is a solar eclipse taking place in your 5th house, and some challenge could come up with your children or with your, if you have your own business in that area. 7th Lord is going to the 6th house. Some problems for your partner can be there, for your spouse. So don't make any hasty decisions. I would say this month, especially related to others, whether it is partners or those that you have regular dealings with. Lagna Lord's strong position can help you see through the problems that arise now. But there is a retrograde Saturn in the 10th house for you, aspecting that Lagna Lord. So old actions can also have some repercussions at this time. You have an eclipse taking place in your 12th house on October the 28th, which features 4th, 5th, 7th, and 8th Lord. So finally disputes, so some family disputes can come up and then get some culmination. This can be connected to your partner also. Some old problems coming back, hidden enemies. Problems can appear in your life through hidden enemies. There will be some distress now that has been long pending, but it will dissolve once the month is over. So be watchful of anxiety. You may have trouble sleeping, but by the end of the month, things will improve because Rahu moves away from that 12th house. Yeah. Gemini. Month starts with Mercury, Lagna Lord exalted in the 4th house. It's not the best place for Mercury, but with Mars and Sun there, it can give you the resources to deal with issues pertaining to your living situation that could have been difficult. Mars in the 4th can be difficult for domestic life anyway. You may be dealing with problems at home. It could be repairs. It could be something simple like that. Something in your living condition needs to change. You have an eclipse happening here as well, mid-month, October the 14th. So a move can feature also at this time. Or somebody could leave your home. That can also happen. Lagna Lord Mercury follows the Sun into your 5th house on October the 15th. October the 18th. This is a difficult transit because you have Mars and Sun with Mercury in Libra in your 5th house at this time. So the mind can be very restless now. You can also feel a lot of anxiety at this time. Another eclipse is happening in your 11th house in Aries, October 28th. So relationships with children can suffer at this time. If you have children, if you're involved in new relationships, then something unpleasant can come to light at this time also. You could lose a source of income, or there can be a change in your source of income. There's some fluctuation can happen there. If you have your own business, you will feel it the most. Promotion may not materialize as you had hoped, for instance. That can be an example of how your income has gotten affected. Friend and network circles, however, can be supportive at this time. Good time to get some relief through your hobbies, reaching out to friends, just talking things out. Just having a chat will be very helpful. Difficult second half of the month, so keep the schedule light where possible. Yeah. So Cancer, what's happening for you? You will host Venus in your 2nd house for the entire month, which is lovely, actually. It's an excellent position for Venus. Should be good for income, should be good for money matters, should be good for relationship also. There's an eclipse in Virgo in your 3rd house on October 14th. That can bring some fallout. It could be a fallout with your sibling. It could be someone in your immediate environment. There could be some fight breaking out, like in your neighborhood. A dispute of sorts. A difficult neighbor, difficult family member also could be that. Another eclipse happens in your 10th house on October the 28th. Domestic life can see a shakeup at this time. Maybe a sudden move is on the cards. Or property matters can see some revelations, face some obstacles at this time. You may be starting a new chapter as far as your home life is concerned. You may also be spending a lot on home-related matters. If you're employed, it's the time to negotiate a better salary. So much focus on that, on the 410 angles, means some foundation has been, like, you've been redesigning some foundation in your life, right? Like dealing with your career, dealing with your home matters. So for Cancer Moon, it can be a stressful time. Because that, like, Saturn is in the 8th. And that's not helpful. Finances can see some adjustments now also. A lot of focus on the domestic life, which can undergo some changes. Second half can be quite productive. You can get some good results. Yeah. All the best. Leo, what's happening for you? The month will start with Venus, 10th Lord, in the 1st house. However, which is a better placement for Venus, 10th Lord in the 1st house, certainly, than the 12th, but it's still receiving Saturn's aspect, so there could be a feeling of heaviness. Some pressure regarding your career direction, your life path can be there. Career and reputation can be in focus this month. There's also a lot of pressure on relationships. Committed relationships could be tested at this time. Mars in the 2nd house is good for dealing with finances. Watch your speech, however, at this time. You could be provoked easily. I would say especially be watchful for the 1st week of October. Yokarka Mars, moving into your 3rd house on October 3rd, makes a conjunction with Ketu. This can bring up a dispute. It could be somewhere in your immediate environment. If it does, so you could be involved in a dispute at this time. Could be in your immediate environment. Could be with a relationship because it's Libra. If that's the case, you will be a force to be reckoned with. Because Mars here wants to win, right? And so you can be quite forceful now if you're putting a point across, if you're putting your argument across. An eclipse in your 2nd house could highlight some money matters. It could be good news in regards to money. You may also get some news from a family member. 2nd half of the month can be stressful because Lagna Lord goes into Libra, right? Gets debilitated there, joins Mars and Ketu. So keep a light schedule that 2nd half. There's an eclipse on October 28th in your 9th house. Some travel, immigration matters can surface at this time. Foreign connections can feature now. People from abroad will surface. There may be a situation that comes up with, like, it could also be with like a younger sibling. Be cautious in your written communications now. Delay them if you can. Jupiter in Aries in 9th house offers protection, though it's retrograde, so its aspect is reduced on that Lagna, right? If you're studying a new subject, you can see some breakthroughs now. Rahu exits Aries and goes into your 8th house at the end of the month, and that can bring a sudden event also. 2nd half can feel stressful, so take your time for self-care. Very important. Virgo, for you, what's happening? You start the month in top form. Lagna Lord Mercury in your 1st house, exalted. It's an excellent transit for being noticed, for being heard, whether it is in your career, whether it is in your personal relationships. You also have an eclipse cycle starting in the 1-7 axis, right? With Ketu moving into Virgo on October the 30th. The eclipse on October 14th will feel like a brand new beginning, especially related to work matters. If you've been looking for new opportunities, you can see suddenly something coming up now. Eclipses in the first house usually usher in a new opening. There may be some fear, of course, to take the necessary steps to begin anew, but you will, with eclipse, you're pushed to do so, right? So you have to kind of go with the flow there. Finances can also undergo some change. Recovering a loss, managing your finances, especially connected to your partner, that can also happen. It's not a good time to take unnecessary risks in this department of life with your finances. Venus is a supportive planet for you. It's ninth lord in the 12th house. It can be really great for a trip overseas. It can, however, bring up some expenses. If you will travel, you will be quite pleased at this time. You could be reconnecting with loved ones also. Like, that could be the reason for your travel, and that would be a good reason to get away. Sun moves into your second house mid-month, which brings excessive fire energy in that second house. So be patient with others. You can be very reactive the second half of the month. So watch what you say, I guess. Yeah. Especially with that Lagna Lord Mercury caught with Mars and Sun in Libra. That can feel quite difficult. Yeah. Lunar eclipse is actually taking place in your 8th house on October 28th. So it can point, again, some discord can happen with others. It can pop out of nowhere. The problem can pop out of nowhere. So try to disconnect where possible. Life may bring some unexpected confrontations with others this time. So steer clear if possible, keep a light schedule. And of course, take time for self-care. Because this is only the beginning for you with the eclipse axis moving to Virgo and Pisces. Yeah. Libra, what's happening for you? For you, Lagna Lord in the 11th house is an excellent transit. First half of the month can be very productive. Money matters look good also. Mars moving into the first house with Ketu on October 3rd can, however, feel irritable, especially where relationships are concerned. You can feel that you have no say in matters. Spouse or other people can take up a lot of time, and you can feel overwhelmed with demands from other people. Mid-month, we also have a solar eclipse in your 12th house, so some unexpected travel can come up. And certainly expenses out of the blue can feature at this time. Sun joins Mars and Ketu in the first house on October 17th, making you very outspoken. If you've been feeling frustrated or angry, now you may have some confrontation with others. Mercury also joins a few days later, so be prepared for a heated second half of the month. Health issues can crop up, so disconnect where possible. Yeah. There is an eclipse in your 7th house, the final one in Aries on October 28th. It's a good time to make amends with others, maybe people that you've experienced problems with. Troublesome relationships will combust now and just disappear. And some will just simply disappear without a confrontation. So there is healing energy present, so take advantage. You continue to host Ketu in the first house, and you'll feel some relief when Ketu moves into your 12th house on October the 30th. You'll also slowly see the instability in relationships will disappear, right? Certainly by next month. And you'll be able to connect with others in a more relaxed, in a more mature way. Lagna Lord remains in your 11th house all month, so you can handle what comes up. It's a good placement for Venus, actually. Overall, a heavy month, so stay hydrated, take time for self-care. Scorpio, what's happening for you? For you, Lagna Lord moves into the 12th house as soon as the month starts on October the 3rd. With Ketu here, it can bring some hidden problems into your life. Expenses can also go up. You can be involved in some behind-the-scenes activities. Sleep can be restless at this time. Energy levels can feel depleted. So, October is a good month to just take it easy. Venus in your 10th house all month can mean that you're putting a lot of time into your career. It would be a good time to do that. Yeah. If you're a Scorpio moon, this month can feel a little bit draining though, because you have a very difficult Saturn transit, fourth from that moon. Home life also can feel unsatisfactory. You may be feeling pressure to make big life decisions. You may be feeling pressure to make decisions in your intimate relationships. Old relationships can resurface now, especially from faraway lands. Mid-month, there is a solar eclipse in your 11th house, and it's a positive one. It's a positive one for you. Bringing some unexpected gains. Good news from abroad is also featured at this time. You're one of the few signs where this eclipse is actually positive in your chart. Sun also moves into your 12th house mid-month, which can bring some issues into your work life. So don't make any decisions there until November if possible. Jupiter moving retrograde now is also positive for you. It can reduce some problems in your life, right? Because it's been moving through your 6th house. Trying new regimes like yoga, spiritual practice is very good and can work wonders at this time. There's a lunar eclipse happening in your 6th house as well. So old problems can come up now. Could be old health issues also. You'll get some clarity though at this time. Month ends with Ketu moving into your 11th house, which is an excellent transit for you. Overall, it's a manageable month for you compared to the other signs. But be watchful of aimless conflicts that can come up. Try and see if you can change your routine to sleep early, because disturbance in sleep can be there throughout the month. Yeah. Sagittarius, what's happening for you? The month starts with Lagna Lord Jupiter retrograde in 5th house. This may feel like a drop in your energy levels. 5th Lord Mars moves into the 11th house with Ketu, and this can impact money matters. Relationships can see some instability now also. If you have children or if you have your own business, then you can experience some problems at this time. First few days of the month especially. There's an eclipse happening in your 10th house on October the 14th, which can be favorable for career. If you lose a client or business, an opportunity can come up very suddenly. There would have been some instability in finances anyway. With Venus in the 9th house, this can feel much better, because Venus has been transiting your 8th house for a long time, which is a difficult transit. Some travel can pop up now, right? There's a lunar eclipse happening in your 5th house on October the 28th. With so much fire in that 11th house, be watchful of dealings with friends and elder siblings at this time. Mother's health can be troublesome at this time. Jupiter, of course, is acting as a protective force for you, though. So well positioned. Spending more time at home mid-month onward is beneficial. The month ends with Ketu moving into your 10th house and Rahu in your 5th house, which is going to give a shake-up to your career and home life for the next 18 months. Changes are in store. The month ends with Ketu moving into your 10th house and Rahu in your 4th house, and this will give a shake-up to your career and home life for the next 18 months, so changes are in store. Good month to do mantra practice, Jupiter being in that 5th, just to stay at peace because of this unstable eclipse season that we're having. Yeah. Capricorn, month starts with Venus in your 8th house and it aspects Lagna Lord in the 2nd. Good for finances. If you start a relationship, now you can think of taking it to the next level. There's a solar eclipse in your 9th house, which can mean some issue can come up with your father at this time. If you're traveling at this time, it will be a beneficial trip for you. Fourth Lord in 10th house also indicates some travel can come up quite suddenly. Sun moves into your 10th house, which is a supportive transit for you. All that fire going to the 10th house will give you the energy and the drive to accomplish your tasks. Be careful with bosses. Be careful with authority figures, as some disagreements can surface now. An eclipse in your 4th house at the end of the month can also mean a sudden move is in the cards. It can give some breakdowns at home. Certainly, yeah. Rahu moving into the 3rd house and Ketu moving into the 9th house will feel like a welcome relief to you at the end of the month on October the 30th. It's a supportive nodal transit, especially if you're a Capricorn moon. Rahu will give you that push, like to fulfill your desires. And Ketu will give you opportunities for travel, connecting with those from abroad. Yeah. Aquarius, what's happening for you? You are hosting Yogarka Venus in your 7th house. This can result in a move that you've been ready to do for a while. It can mean that you're starting to work from home, or you're starting your own business. If you've been contemplating it, now is the time to do it. You're still hosting Saturn in the 1st house, so for the Aquarius moon, Sati can feel quite intense, which can bring some disinterest in life's activities, and certainly some out of the blue events. Saturn here can create some fear as well. If you're in Sati, then you can feel quite a lot of pressure in relationships. You have an eclipse in your 8th house on October 14th, so health issues can resurface now. Good to stay clear of a busy schedule. All the fire is going to your 9th house, so immigration matters can deliver some surprising outcomes at this time. Travel can be erratic also, so I would stay clear of that if possible. Father's health can also be troublesome. The month ends with an eclipse in your 3rd house on October the 28th. If you have younger siblings, this can indicate confrontation happening at this time. Rahu moves into your 2nd house and Ketu in your 8th house at the end of the month. Starting a new cycle, especially to do with health matters, money matters, can certainly happen now. That's the area that will get transformed. Yeah. For the next 18 months. Pisces, this is a big month for you as you have Rahu moving into your house on October the 30th. Month starts with 9th Lord in the 8th house with Ketu. This can bring some surprises. Conflicts can be there with business or with marriage partner. Watch your stress levels at this time. Jupiter's aspect there is a blessing, and we'll see you come to some agreeable solutions. There's an eclipse, the first one, in your 7th house on October the 14th. So now begins the journey of reformation in your image, in your status, in your life direction, and of course in your relationships. Relationship drama can also crop up with Venus in the 6th house. So it's just like Venus in the 6th doesn't tend to keep peace in the relationships, especially being aspected by Saturn, especially in Leo. Another eclipse takes place in your 2nd house. So again, relationships can feel imbalanced. Money matters will also be on your mind this month. Actually, it would be good to reflect on where you spend money, how you save money, your investments, all of that, right? Lagna Lord remaining on its own in the 2nd house is great news, because Rahu is moving away from Aries at the end of the month. This can make you feel more supported, right? Especially through family. Though Jupiter being retrograde can bring up some problems with money matters that you'd pushed under the rug for a long time. With so much energy in the Dusthana houses, it's kind of a tricky month to navigate, so keep things light and simple where possible. Just take things easy now. Keep the schedule light. So that's all for now, folks. Cheers.